So in our work with clients, we see fatigue presenting as elevated absenteeism, which is the unplanned leave, the increased presenteeism, which means you are on site but underperforming, if not just only present. More errors, higher turnover risk, decision cycle. Also, I just saw a latest report from a local council's use case where actually the number of physical incidents also increased due to this problem. So the data align that the studies in occupational fatigue show how work intensification correlates strongly with the chronic and acute fatigue. And the insufficient recovery that we just touched is the key predictor. And just recently been on a conference where I just heard the latest number, then 21 days chronic stress day in a row gives you into the burnout next stage, which is actually hit rock bottom. So 21 day in a row, which is really alarming.
Yeah, and I mean, from a neuroscience perspective, fatigue shows up in really similar ways. You know, it's the absenteeism and the presenteeism and the mistakes and things just taking longer. And you know, to add on to what you said, that 21 days is really interesting. I hadn't heard that, but it does make a lot of sense. And from a sort of biological point of view, humans are made to deal with a stressful situation about once every 7 days. So if we think about a stressful situation being, I've walked out of my cave to go and hunt or gather, and there's a saber-toothed tiger there, we're made to deal with that about once a week. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel stressed more than once a week, and I know a lot of the people that I work with feel stressed more than once a week. And the thing is like, stress is not the enemy. We need a certain amount of stress to perform. The problem is when it's high stress, it's chronic, and it doesn't have that closed loop to it. And cortisol itself, which is the main stress hormone or one of the main stress hormones, takes about 25 hours to dissipate from our body. Right. So from a neuroscience perspective, if people are feeling stressed or they're tipping into the overwhelmed side of that curve, we're seeing that impact businesses and teams and individuals from such a high level. And I'll often say, you don't see it as a neat line item in your P&L, but it's absolutely impacting. And a lot of it ties to what we were talking about before in terms of the managers. A lot of it ties to disengagement. A lot of it ties to workplaces and systems not being set up for people to actually do their best work.